Hello?
Hi. Do you have
Hi.
Hi. Do you have a few minutes?
Yeah. I am in Jerome, Arizona. A local band that resided in and around that town. That band would be Major Lingo. Jerome was their home. It was likely a Sunday morning after we'd seen a show. We used to camp out in there's an abandoned hotel. And then the next morning we'd walk into town and get breakfast and stuff and hang out, and all the locals were hanging out. I mean, some of these photos I'm basically seeing for the first time since you started scanning my negatives. And I was looking at this photo, and background at that fellow sitting on that bench. That's Tim. What's his last name? Tim Alexander. I said, that's Tim Alexander. And he was the drummer of Major Lingo, the band we went to see. And there he is hanging out in the background there. He went on to become the drummer for Primus, who was pretty well known, that band. So I found that interesting to see him sitting in the background there as a very young man, and at that point, still the drummer for Major Lingo, but he was stolen by Primus because he was good. But that is, again, in Jerome. We could have just gone up there to hang out. Maybe we went to see a show. I don't quite remember. The image on the left actually shows somebody walking up to the door. And the second image, I guess, is a triple exposure. And my goal was to get my model. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. He was a classmate, schoolmate that I was hanging around with for that trip. And I asked him to do this. I mean, it's the impression of three people sitting on the stairs with their arms around each other. And I definitely enjoyed taking night shots. I was always an available light kind of person and rarely used the flash. It was probably in the spring of 86. I was working on that fellow's bus.
And go.
James Mahoney was, we were quite friendly. He was a classmate at Prescott. He was well into his 30s. And he's married and had 2 kids. I turned this school bus, traditional big long yellow school bus, into a motorhome for him. He gave me that camera, the Mamiya 645, as payment, and his wife, who was a fantastic cook, she fed me. This is it when it's just about done, I think. So yeah, that's where your camera came from. James Mahoney. More shots of the interior.
Two or 3 months for sure that I had received the camera that these photographs were taken. I basically have like 2 years that I used that camera. Unfortunately, I had a dark room at the time, access at the school. And then when I got home that summer, I built my dark room. Yeah, this is, all these shots were actually taken in Manhattan. I mean, I had the camera with me quite often, but I probably brought it with me just to experiment. I hung around a bit in the city and took some shots, and those are the results.
Because at this point, did you know you weren't going back to school?
I think I did. broke. I spent money on that one year, and not really having any money left to pay for another year of tuition, I decided I would try the trades. So I came back to New Jersey and started working with my brother. These shots were, I think they were in Hoboken. Those shots with that guy playing guitar, but I don't know what I was doing there. I mean, maybe, and I went out for a walk, those night shots. Same with the day shots. I just went out on a little photo excursion. So, yeah, so that's just me wandering around town, observing life happening. Yeah, well, even to me now, even though on one hand it feels like those shots were taken yesterday, you can look at them and they definitely have some dated qualities to them all of a sudden. The period with that camera, I definitely like cityscape, street photography, photographing people, not formally whatsoever. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite series. Yeah, I don't know if I was commuting and from Montclair to Hoboken or something. I just was interested in shooting in that train station. I had the 645 and I had a tripod. People that were captured, they really weren't too concerned about me. I don't know if I was commuting, because that's how I became familiar with that train station initially, was I commuted through there every day. It's definitely a hot spot. Yeah, well, you know the format of that lens, and it's the only lens that's ever been on that camera, which is kind of a neat thing. Real-time relationship between the fact that I'm really not shooting now. I want to get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit disconnected, which has some effect, but that aside, I think it's quite wonderful and rewarding that, I mean, everybody's a photographer
Mm-hmm.
in some way, shape, or form because of our phones and stuff. And you can take really good photographs with the phone, but it's, not like a better dedicated tool. It's different, but so I think it's pretty neat that you are involved in a more advanced, dedicated your involvement is a little more advanced and a little more dedicated, and I think that the fact that you're doing lab work, like old style wet lab, I think that's pretty cool. I think that you collected that from storage and it still works and you're using it and you happen to be quite fond of it. That's certainly poetic and rewarding for me.